The jungle was quiet. Too quiet. Ethan's heart pounded as he crouched behind a fallen log. He was only 16 years old, a young human cadet on his first off-world mission. But something had gone terribly wrong. Their ship had been ambushed by raiders. He was the only one who made it out alive. His suit was damaged. His oxygen was low. And now the dense alien jungle seemed to breathe around him, watching every step he took. But then he heard it, a sound. It wasn't the growl of a beast or the clicking of alien weapons. It was crying, very soft, very scared. Ethan crept forward, his boots pressed against the glowing blue moss on the ground. He followed the sound through broken trees and twisted vines until he reached a pit, a metal cage hidden in the ground, barely visible through the leaves. Inside, curled up like a wounded animal, was a girl, an alien girl. Her skin was pale, violet, bruised and dirty. She had small horns on her forehead and strange marks down her arm, symbols that pulsed with weak light. Chains wrapped around her thin ankles and wrists. Her clothes were torn. Her eyes are filled with pain. She looked up at him, afraid. At first, then curious. Ethan stepped closer, heart racing. "Hey, ... are you hurt? Can you understand me?" The girl blinked slowly, then gave a small nod. He scanned the cage. It was locked with some kind of alien tech, biometric coded to someone else's DNA. But Ethan wasn't thinking. He just knew she had to get out. "I'll get you out of here," he whispered, dropping to his knees. "No," she whispered back in broken English. "Danger. They come back soon. Then we better be fast." He took out a tool from his suit, half broken, but still sparking. He started working on the lock. Beeped, hissed, and sparked. The girl crawled closer to the bars, watching him. "Why?" "Help?" she asked, her voice shaking. Ethan paused, looked into her wide, glowing eyes. "Because you don't deserve this. No one does." Just then, clang. A sound in the trees. The raiders were returning. Ethan worked faster. His hands trembled. Sweat dripped from his forehead. The device sparked one last time, then popped. The lock fell open. "Got it," he gasped. The girl didn't move. She stared at him, stunned, then slowly stepped out, still shaking, chains dragging behind her. He reached out. "Come on." "Yeah." To move now. They ran together into the jungle, ducking through shadows and vines. Ethan kept checking behind them. The raiders were close, shouting in their strange language. A ship passed overhead, scanning beams, sweeping the trees. Here, Ethan pulled her into a cave behind a waterfall. They were both soaked, cold, but safe for now. The girl fell too. The ground, breathing hard. He sat beside her, trying to catch his breath. "Are you okay?" She looked at him again, her face softer now. "You were young," she said. Ethan smiled a little. "Are you?" She reached out, touching his chest softly, right where his heart was. Suddenly his suit glowed. A symbol appeared under his skin just for a moment. Ethan gasped. "What was that?" She didn't answer, just looked at him sadly. "I cannot go with you," she said quietly. "My people, my blood, cursed, must stay." "Hide." "What?" "No. I just risked everything to save you." "You did save me," she whispered, "and I will live because of you." She leaned closer and said, "Come back. When you are strong, I will wait." Before Ethan could ask more, his wrist communicator beeped. A rescue pod was landing nearby. "Rescue beacon activated," the voice said. "Survivor found." Turned to her. "Wait, what's your name?" But she was already gone, vanished into the jungle shadows like mist. The pod's door opened. Light shined on Ethan as he stood there, breathless, confused, and forever changed, as the pod flew into the sky. He looked back one last time. He didn't even know her name, but he knew one thing for sure. He would come back. Someday. 10 years had passed. But for Ethan, that moment in the jungle, those glowing eyes, that trembling voice, now left him. Now he was a man. 26. A trained operative of Earth's frontier. Forces war-hardened, cold, efficient. But there was one secret he never shared with anyone. Not with his commanders, not with his squad, not even with himself. When the nights were quiet and his bunk too cold, it was the mark right over his heart. Under his skin a faint glow pulsing sometimes when he was dreaming. The medics ran scans and said it was a harmless energy reaction. But no tech could explain it. Ethan didn't need an explanation. He remembered her touch, that soft hand, her voice come back when you are strong. It had burned into his memory like a carved name on stone. Now he stood on the deck of a military transport cruiser. The mission was clear. Investigate the ruins of an old alien world known as Zeral Prime, a dead world. Forgotten after the war. But, to Ethan, that name sparked something dangerous inside him. It was the same planet. He didn't tell his team. He didn't say that this was the place where he found her. That this was where the jungle had once hidden a girl who changed him forever. As the shuttle descended, lightning flickered in the clouds. The trees were dry and twisted now. The vibrant colors were gone. The jungle was quiet, but not in the same way it felt. Sad, ruined, abandoned. But Ethan felt it again. That tug in his chest. Something was calling him Lieutenant. His sergeant asked, watching the scanners. You all right? Ethan nodded slowly. Just Dacia vu. While the others spread out to scan the ruins, Ethan quietly slipped away. His feet knew where to go. Step by step, the memories returned. The path through the trees, the log he hid behind, the cage, the crying. He reached a clearing overgrown now, vines covering the pit. But he still found the outline of that old metal door. He knelt down and touched it. For a second, just a second, the mark on his chest lit up. Then the ground shook. Boom, sound like a heartbeat beneath the soil. A piece of stone shifted nearby. Ethan moved quickly, uncovering it. His breath caught in his throat. It was a carving, old, worn but clear. Her face, the same alien girl, her expression was calm, her eyes closed. A small line of ancient writing curved around the edge. To the one who saved me. Return, the bond awakens. Ethan stepped back, his heart raced. This wasn't just a coincidence. She had left this for him. Suddenly, a panel in the stone glowed. He touched its hand. A hologram appeared. She stood before him again, older now, graceful. Her eyes had the same glow, but her body wore regal robes. A crown of light floated above her horns. She looked straight into him, though it was just a message. If you are the boy who risked himself to save a stranger, her voice said softly, then, know this, I waited. I prepared. I believed. The image flickered. I don't know if you'll ever return, but if you do, you must find me. I cannot hold back the forces any longer. This world hides what others fear. I cannot face it alone. The message ended. With a map and a countdown. 72 hours. Ethan stared in silence. His body felt cold, but his chest burned with warmth. He whispered, You really waited for me? And for the first time in 10 years? He believed. The wind howled through the empty jungle, dry leaves dancing like ghosts around Ethan's boots. The map burned in his mind. It pointed toward the northern ridge where the sky cracked with purple lightning and the trees thinned like scared sentries. He didn't call for backup. He didn't ask permission. This journey wasn't part of the mission. This was personal. The deeper Ethan went, the more he noticed strange sign trees marked with glowing runes, stones shaped into triangles, and statues that looked like they were once guarding something. It felt like the jungle itself had been designed to keep intruders away. But not him. As he stepped through a broken arch, the wind stopped. Everything went quiet. A massive stone structure rose before him, half buried in dirt and vines. Old, ancient, but still humming softly. It looked like a pyramid, but with rounded corners and long, spiraling steps that led to a dark doorway. He had found it, the place she spoke of. Ethan stepped inside, weapon ready. His flashlight flickered. The walls were covered in alien text, most of it unreadable. but one word repeated over and over again: bonded. As he moved deeper, the temple came alive. Faint blue lights lit up in his path like the building recognized him. His chest burned again. The mark under his skin began to glow. Then he heard something, a whisper, not in his ears, in his mind. Ethan. He froze. It was her voice. In the center of the temple stood a platform, shaped like a star. Floating above it was a glowing crystal pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. He stepped onto the platform, and the moment his boot touched it, the crystal reacted. Flashed, a hologram burst from it, blinding beautiful. And full of light it was her. Older, wiser, her eyes deeper than space. But still the same girl he remembered. She looked straight at him, and then she spoke. "If you have returned, then our time has begun." Ethan couldn't move, couldn't speak. "When you saved me, you activated something ancient, something sacred. You are not just a rescuer. You are a chosen one. My people called it the Valenbanda, link of souls, made only once in a lifetime." She stepped forward in the projection, her face soft with emotion. "I hid this message in case you came back. They wouldn't let us be together, not in the old world. But this temple was built by my ancestors, and now it belongs to you too." Suddenly, the projection darkened. A shadow appeared in the background, like a storm approaching. "But we are out of time. If you see this, they have found me. They will use me, unless you stop them." Ethan gritted his teeth. Who's coming for you?" The projection continued, ignoring his voice. "Follow the light trail. You will find the place where our bond was born. After 3 sunfalls, the blood rite begins, and once they start, I cannot be saved." Her image flickered, becoming faint. Then she looked at him one last time and smiled. "You were just a boy when you saved me. But now you are the man I saw in my visions." The projection vanished. Ethan stood alone in the silent temple, the glow fading. He looked down at the mark on his chest. The bond wasn't just real, it was destiny. Someone wanted to tear it apart, but not if he could help it. He pulled his helmet back on, eyes fierce. "Hang on," he muttered. "I'm coming." The map glowed on Ethan's wrist display, leading him far from the temple, deeper into forgotten lands no human had ever walked. This wasn't the jungle anymore. This was something older. Twisted trees rose like claws from the dry ground. The sun was a blood-red blur behind the clouds. Strange creatures watched from the shadows, too quiet to smart. And all around him were ruins, broken statues, shattered pillars, and walls covered in warnings written in a language he couldn't read. But one thing was clear: they didn't want him here. Hours passed. Ethan followed the glowing trail as the temperature dropped. He reached a cracked stone bridge above a black river. On the other side stood a wall of thorns, and behind it, a massive stone gate shaped like a screaming face. He stepped forward. Suddenly, spears slammed down from the trees. Warriors in bone armor dropped from the branches, hissing in a strange tongue. Ethan didn't flinch. "I'm not your enemy," he said, raising his hands. "I'm looking for her. The girl, the one you call the Lost Princess." The warriors paused. One of them, older, taller, with white markings on her face, stepped forward. She looked at Ethan's chest and saw the mark. Her eyes widened. She shouted something, and the others lowered their weapons. Then, without warning, they bowed. Ethan was stunned. "What is happening?" he whispered. The old warrior looked up. Her voice was rough but deep with meaning. "Only the bonded one can pass the trials. She waits for you beyond the blood gate." "Trials?" Ethan asked, confused. "What kind of trials?" The warrior didn't answer. She only pointed to the screaming face gate. Ethan stepped forward. Oh, the gate opened with a grinding sound, revealing a narrow passage lit by strange blue fire. He walked in, and the gate slammed shut behind him. Inside was darkness and whispers. The air felt thick, like it was alive. Symbols began glowing on the walls, forming shapes, stories, memories. Ethan saw visions of her, the girl he saved. She was older now. dressed in warrior robes, leading her people. He saw her fighting, bleeding, commanding soldiers with fierce eyes, then captured, shackled, forced to kneel before a throne made of bones. A voice echoed in the chamber. She became queen. Only to be broken. More visions followed. They feared your bond. They cursed her with exile. Now, they planned to use her body in a ritual to make war machines of her blood. Ethan clenched his fists. No. The chamber lit up, suddenly revealing a creature blocking his path. It was massive, 8 feet tall, covered in shifting armor and glowing eyes. Not flesh, not machine. A trial beast, the voice whispered again. Prove your strength. Only the worthy may take her hand. The beast roared and charged. Ethan dodged, barely escaping its crushing claws. He fired a blast from his plasma sidearm. It bounced off the armor. The beast slammed him into the wall. His vision blurred, but he didn't stop. He remembered her voice, her eyes, her words. Come back when you're strong. He rolled under the next strike, grabbed a broken piece of glowing stone from the floor, slammed it into the creature's throat, joint right. Where the armor bent, the beast let out a piercing screech and collapsed in sparks. Ethan stood up, shaking. I didn't come here to prove myself, he said between breaths. I came here to save her. The chamber lights faded. A new door opened, golden and warm. Ethan walked through, into a hidden garden, glowing softly under a false sky, and there, etched into the stone, wall was a symbol, the same one that marked his chest. It pulsed once, then her voice whispered. Through the air, one more step, Ethan, and we will be together again. But deep below, in a dark fortress, others watched, and they were not pleased. Ethan's steps slowed as he entered the garden of golden light. It was peaceful, too. Peaceful. Flowers glowed softly under hanging vines. A shallow pool reflected a sky that wasn't real, like the temple, created this illusion to calm whoever entered. But Ethan's heart beat louder with each step. She was near. He could feel her. The mark on his chest pulsed, stronger than ever. It pulled him forward like a magnet toward a stone door covered in glowing symbols. He didn't knock. Didn't wait. He pushed the door open and froze. She stood at the center of the room, facing away from him. Her long violet hair flowed like silk. Her back was straight, her shoulders strong. She wore a white robe with golden bands, and her horns glowed with faint energy. She didn't move, not even when he stepped inside. Double quotes. ... It's really you, Ethan whispered. She slowly turned around. Her face, it had changed. The innocent, trembling girl from his memories was gone. Now she looked regal, distant, even cold. But her eyes still remembered. I told you, she said, voice soft but firm, to return when you were strong. I did, he replied. Their eyes locked, but instead of running to him, instead of crying or smiling, she just stared. You shouldn't have come? Ethan blinked. What? She stepped closer, but didn't touch him. They know you're here. The bond has awakened fully. Now I am not the only one they want. They want you to. Ethan clenched his fists. Let them try. I didn't come this far just to leave you behind. She looked down, her voice trembling now. I became queen in secret. I hid for years. I made them think I was gone. But the moment you stepped back onto this planet, everything I buried began to rise. Ethan stepped forward, then let it rise. We face it together. Oh, she whispered. You don't understand what's coming. The ritual. The blood moon. They need a soul-bonded pair to complete it. Wait, he said slowly. They want to use us. She nodded. What? We were supposed to be sacred. But now, our bond will be twisted, used to tear open the gate of ancient weapons. They want to drain our life, to feed a war machine. Ethan's eyes burned with anger. Then we stopped them. Together, her lips trembled. She looked away. That's not why I brought. You hear? He took a step closer. Then why? She finally looked into his eyes, and there was pain there, deep pain, because She whispered, "I couldn't carry this alone anymore." And then she collapsed into his arms. The cold mask dropped. His strength faded. For the first time, he saw her as she truly was: strong, yes, but tired, lonely, afraid. "You were just a boy when you saved me," she said softly against his chest. "But now, you are the only one who can save us both." The ground rumbled beneath them. The walls flickered. The temple had been breached. "They've found us," she whispered. "We must move now." Ethan pulled her close. "Then let's make a promise. No more running. No more hiding." She looked up at him, tears in her glowing eyes. "Only forward," she said. They turned toward the secret path behind the chamber. Lights began blinking red. The countdown had begun. But for the first time since he left Earth, Ethan wasn't alone, and neither was she. The underground tunnel was lit by a single glowing line, running along the walls like a pulse. It beat in time with Ethan's mark. They ran in silence. Every step echoed with urgency. The countdown wasn't just numbers. No, it was a promise. Of destruction. "Where does this path lead?" Ethan asked, panting. She didn't look back. To the sanctuary. "The core of the bond. What's there?" She hesitated, then said, "The truth." As they reached the final chamber, the air changed. Warm, heavy, alive. The room was circular, carved from stone and crystal, with thousands of tiny lights floating above their heads like stars. In the center stood a stone altar glowing with 2 lights, one red, one blue dot. Ethan and the alien girl stepped forward together. The lights flared, rising into the air, and formed a memory. It showed 2 figures long ago, a human male. Standing where Ethan stood now. "What is this?" he whispered. She spoke softly. "This is the first bond, the beginning. Our souls, they carry their echo." Ethan watched the memory. The 2 ancient lovers touched hands, and their bodies glowed, becoming one light. That light created power energy that spread across the stars. It wasn't magic. It was something deeper, older, unity, true connection. And their bond never ended. It lived again in Ethan and her. "They made this chamber to protect their love," she said. "Gosh. But after the wars, others saw the bond as a weapon. They want to harvest it," Ethan realized. "Like a battery." She nodded. "The ritual needs 2 bonded souls. The stronger the bond, the more energy it releases. And you and I." She looked into his eyes. "We were chosen before we were even born." Ethan stepped closer. "Then we choose what we do with it." But before she could answer, boom, the chamber shook. Dark figures dropped from above. Clad in black armor, their eyes glowed red. Silent, fast. Enemy agents. One of them fired a dart meant straight at her. Ethan moved without thinking, diving in front of it. The dart hit his shoulder. His vision blurred, but his arms still pulled her. Close. His voice still worked. "Run." She did instead. She screamed something ancient. Hand, the mark on her chest burst into light. Energy surrounded them, throwing the attackers back. She knelt over Ethan, hands shaking. No. Don't you dare leave me now. Daw." Dart's poison spread fast, burning through his veins. He gasped. "Guess I'm still not strong enough." "Enough?" She shouted and pulled out a tiny crystal from around her neck. "This is a bindstone," she whispered. "It's used in only one kind of bond. The final one, life or death. If I use it now, we can become one completely." Ethan blinked. "What happens if you do?" Her voice cracked. "Then we live. Or die." Together, she placed the stone over his heart. Her forehead touched his. Their marks glowed, then merged. Light exploded across the chamber. The enemy screamed, blinded, and then silence. Ethan opened his eyes. He felt ... stronger. Whole. She helped him stand. Their marks were gone now, replaced by a single symbol shirred. "You didn't have to do that," he said quietly. "I didn't want to," she replied. "I needed to." They turned to face the shattered wall beyond it. The enemy army gathered for the ritual. Only. Now, the bond wasn't just a symbol, it was a force, and together, they were ready to make the galaxy remember why the bond was never meant to be broken. The storm outside the ancient temple roared like a living beast. Thunder cracked the sky, and a red moon rose slowly above the dead trees. The blood moon it had begun. The enemy army gathered and rose silent, waiting. Their leader, a masked war priest, stepped forward toward the ritual altar built from bones and old machines. He raised a staff, dark energy swirling around him. "Bring the bonded pair," he commanded. But they did not come as prisoners. They came walking side by side. Ethan's armor was scratched and burned, but his eyes were calm. She walked beside him head high, robes flowing like fire, her face glowing with new power. The bindstone's light pulsed where their hearts met. The priest snarled, "You dare challenge the right?" She answered without fear, "You want the bond? Then face what it truly is." The sky split open. Lightning crashed behind them. The altar pulsed, hungry. The priest shouted, "Begin the draining." The machines awakened. Black tendrils reached for them. Ethan looked at her. "We could still run," he said. She smiled, small and sad. "No. If we run, others will suffer. If we stay, we end it." He took her hand. The mark glowed between them, again stronger than ever. The machines latched onto them, but instead of draining them, something went wrong. The energy surged. The other way, the ritual reversed. The temple shook violently. The priest screamed, "No, the bond is consuming everything." The light around Ethan and the alien girl became a blinding star. It tore through the altar, the machines, the sky, the army. Fell back in fear. And then, in one final blast of light, everything went silent. When the smoke cleared, Ethan was on his knees, coughing. She lay beside him, breathing weakly. The temple was gone. The blood moon was gone. The machines were ash. Only the two of them remained in the crater, Dash alive. Barely ships appeared overhead, human and alien. Rescue. Teams landed, but they didn't touch the two figures. Right away they just watched in silence, because something had changed. The bond wasn't just a myth now. It had become a legend. Later, when the medics treated them, Ethan turned to her with a tired smile. "I told you I'd come back." She squeezed his hand. "And I told you I'd wait." He chuckled. "So, what now? Go back to Earth? Start over?" She shook her head. "No," she said. "We build something new. Here, together." And so they did. The story of the human boy and the alien girls spread across systems. Some called it a love story. Others called it a miracle. Some still feared it. But one truth echoed louder than all the rest. When two souls choose each other, nothing in the universe can stop them.